Hey everybody, and welcome back to the internet. I hope you're all having a good start to your week, but if not, hopefully I can make it better by sharing some entitled people stories. Starting with, family assumes my driveway is a free parking spot. So this happened to me a few years ago. I had recently moved to the north of Scotland, where I was now living and staying with my mom and stepdad while getting a house sorted. They went away for holiday for a fortnight, so missed all the fun. I came home from work one afternoon to find a car blocking the driveway into my house. Having a small car, I parked at the top of the drive, blocking them in. My parents live out in the sticks on a single-track road, so I couldn't leave my car where it was because I would have been blocking the road. After an hour, I saw someone approaching the drive and taking pictures of my car. I went out and confronted them, and the conversation went like this. I say, "Why are you taking pictures of my car?" He says, "Because you're parked illegally and blocking my car in. I'm going to call the police if you don't move your car from my neighbor drive." This is clearly my parents' driveway. Did you not think it was odd having to walk out of someone's garden to get to the neighbor? Well, it wasn't very clear, so can you move so I can get out? So I get my keys and move, then park my car and think nothing of it. Next morning, I leave for work, and once again I find the same car parked in my parents' driveway. This time I go to knock on my neighbor's door and ask him to get his friend to shift it. Only for my neighbor to ask, "What friend?" I pointed to the car and told him what happened yesterday. Turns out the prat wasn't his friend at all, but liked to walk around the woodland path near our houses. So 20 minutes later, he finally appears, smirks, and moves before saying, "I'll be parked here tomorrow, too." So once again, I go to work at stupid o'clock, and when I get back, lo and behold, the prat is parked there again. This time I decided to teach him a lesson. I had 2 days off, so I went in the shops and got some shopping and a rather large amount of alcohol. I got home, parked as close to his car as I could, making sure I was safely off the road. I went inside, made some dinner, and started drinking. About an hour later, there's a banging on the door. I say, "Yes?" The guy says, "Move your car, it's blocking me in and my family wants to go home." I look out there and his rather embarrassed looking family sitting in their car. I say, "Sorry, I can't," as I take another drink from my cider. I've been drinking a couple hours, probably over the limit, so I don't want to risk it. "What? Why are you drinking when you knew I'd be wanting to move my car?" I say, "I'm off for the next 2 days, so I fancied a drink." He says, "I'm calling the freaking police." I say, "You do that," before shutting the door and popping into the lounge to watch TV, while also watching them through the window. About 2 hours later, the police arrived to speak to the entitled person before they knock on my door. I say, "Yes, officers, how can I help? Why are you stopping this person from leaving?" So I began explaining the events in the previous days and mentioned how I'd told him he couldn't park here. I also explained that I had been drinking and was probably over the limit, so I couldn't risk moving my car. The police officers agreed that I was correct not to drive while intoxicated. They then asked what insurance I had. I pointed out that it was named driver only, so they couldn't move it for me. The person says, "Come on, just make him move his car." The police say, "Just going to get the breathalyzer. Blow into this, please. You're about 2 times the legal limit, so I'm sorry, but you can't move your car." So the other police officer says to him, "Sorry, but he's over the limit. You'll have to leave your car here and come back tomorrow." He says, "What? But how are we meant to get home?" I say, "Well, there's a bus stop about 2 miles down that road." The parent says, "But the bus don't go anywhere near where we live." The police say, "Well, we can call you a taxi if you want, but you'll need to pay for it." He said, "He did this deliberately." I say, "Yep, lol." Fast forward to the next day, the police arrive with him in their car, and before they asked me to move my car, they decided to have some fun. So the police says, "We just want to check you with the breathalyzer again." Big deep breath. The entitled person looks more and more worried. He says, "You're fine, you can move your car, please." I say, "Of course, officers." The police say to the entitled person, "Don't park your car here again." He couldn't even look at me, just got in his car and drove off. Later that day I decided to build a gate for my parents. That's actually pretty funny. Man, this should be in a pro-revenge story. I got a question for all of the people watching. Have you guys ever sort of gotten revenge on some entitled person that you ran into? So just let me know in the comments. So this next one's called, "My friend borrows money and then blackmails me." So here's some backstory. I'm in school and I have a friend that I'll call entitled person. Now, I had been buying him some snacks from the store a couple times in the past, and we've hanged out in front of the grocery shop. Now, I'd been completely oblivious to his intentions. He didn't care for me, he just cared about my money, since he would always be an a-hole when I hadn't given him a snack or a drink for a couple weeks. So I just kept on buying him stuff, and then at some point I had ran out of money and couldn't buy him anything for a while. Then it started. At one point, he asked me for €5 so that I could buy a spray paint bottle for a reason I didn't know and he didn't tell me. I give him the money and he promised to pay me back. That happened about 6 months ago. He has asked and asked to lower the debt, and I had, little by little, noticed my mistake. And now he owed me just €380, so I insisted he pay me back. He of course didn't pay it. So my friend was part of this gang, and he had some powerful friends that weren't much older than we were, so there was nothing I could do. He said in his own words, "I have some friends, there's pretty much nothing you can do." Later, the friends started punching, slapping, and kicking me for no reason and posting slanderous photos and videos of me to many different social medias, including Snapchat. Again, I'm a weak person and there was nothing I could do about it. Later, I told the teacher about the videos entitled friend had secretly posted without my consent. And then he started calling me a crying baby because I had long hair, and I told the teacher. One day when we had a little class activity, I was put in the same group with him. When we were talking about some random stuff, somehow came up to the subject of homosexuality. Then I was asking if I was gay. I was holding my breath while writing because I was almost finished, and I said under my breath, "I'm not gay." Apparently I said the "not" part so silently that my friend heard me say that I'm gay. Later, my friend started spreading this crap about me that I'm gay, and then how I was an F-word, and spread many untrue rumors about me. The next day I came to school, everybody asked me, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "No," because I didn't know he started to spread rumors until I asked one person from my class. Then they said my friend said I was gay. This was infuriating, and I kept asking my friend what the heck he was trying. He just said, "Oh, you said you were gay, so I told everybody." Even though I told him after the class that I said it under my breath and that he had misheard. Then I reminded him of his debt, and you know what he did? He said if I don't stop asking for the money, then he will secretly take photos of me and my face and spread it around the internet and post slanderous info of me. He threatened me with slandering my name and posting my face all around the place if he wasn't forgiven from his debt. This abusive, money-hungry B-word that has basically gotten free drinks from me around 4 months and then started to use violence against me, had just threatened me with slandering my name and posting my name, face, house location to the internet. For €380 freaking euros. He hasn't done it yet, at least to my knowledge, but I've asked him for the money a couple of times, and he's just said that he'll call his friends to beat me up. The abuse is still going on, and I don't know what to do. If I'll tell any teacher, the abuse will just continue, and he'll probably tell his friends to do something that I wouldn't want to imagine. Well, if you guys want to give this person some advice, I can leave the link to these stories, and you can go leave a comment on the Reddit thread. But I would just say stop talking to him completely, just completely ghost him. Basically just try and pretend that he doesn't exist. if moving away isn't possible. Anyways, let's move on to the next story called "Pass My Student Right Now." So, after all this time reading these stories and saying to myself, this can't be real, it actually happened to me today. So background, I'm a high school culinary arts teacher. Rewind to Friday. The following exchange happened in my 3rd hour class. So a student came up to me and said, "Miss, why are you giving me an F?" I say, "Because you've turned in 3 out of 27 assignments." "But miss, I got a game this weekend and now you made me ineligible." I say, "Sorry to hear that, maybe turn in some work?" He says, "Can't I just go wash some dishes or something?" I'm like, "No." He stomps off. Now, that is a common exchange for a teacher during sports season. I thought nothing of it until this morning. I checked my email and saw this subject: concern about the kid's grade. The original email was nice enough. Why is the kid failing, etc. So I emailed back the parent with the same response I gave the kid. And then crap got real. I received a series of emails from the parents. Basically, "How dare you? Don't you know who he is? The basketball team needs him. Change his grade right now." I emailed back saying, "No, I can set a meeting with the coach and principal if you like." The parent says, "No, you're just the cooking teacher. Do as you're told. Change his grade now. It's not like he will ever need the stuff you teach anyway." I say, "Sorry, I'll help him after school with his work if you'd like, but I'm not changing his grade with no work." He says, "Listen, change his grade now, or we will tell everyone you've been trying to sexually assault him." It was at this point that she must have realized her truly epic mistake. This was my school email, and all of them are archived so they can be seen by the public with simple requests. But before I could even get a reply, I got one like this. "And just so you know, my husband is a professional hacker from the government, and these emails will all be gone in minutes. Change the grade or else." So I took my stack of newly printed emails down to my boss, like just a few minutes ago. Can't wait to see what happens next. I guess this is what kind of generation we live in, where if you want good grades, you just gotta have your parents call the school and demand that you get good grades. Don't worry about actually trying or doing well in school. Just make sure you complain enough and you'll get pretty far in life. Because nobody wants to deal with whiners, so as long as you whine enough, people will just give you whatever you want. And on to the last story for today, called Entitled Mom Demands to Give Entitled Kid My PS4 After Constantly Harassing Me for 2 months. So, some context. This happened about 2 years ago, in the 9th grade, and I've had so much fun in 8th grade since I would play games like Blacklight and Best of 3 with my classmates. But when we got into the 9th grade, our classes were shifted, so we had different classmates and nobody really knew each other. I sat down in a class and someone sits next to me. Enter the entitled kid. He says, "Hi, you must be M." I say, "Yeah, hi." He says, "So what'll you be doing for the 9th? Studying more?" I just say, "I guess so." So around a few weeks later, the entitled kid tries to get friends, but clings on to me for everything. Everybody hates this kid since he's an entitled choosing beggar and asks everyone for money and food. I scored pretty low marks in a few tests. Some people were shocked because I topped my class in the 8th grade. So 2 months later, I'm sitting in a free period drawing some logos. Eventually I draw a PS4 logo. The kid sees the logo. "Oh, you drawed the PS4 logo." I say, "Yeah." He says, "You have a PS4? I say, "Yeah, I literally gave a guy a game." He says, "Why would your parents buy you a PS4? Your parents are stupid. You got bad marks, you don't deserve it." I didn't know how the heck to respond to this, but soon enough a friend of mine who overheard the conversation stepped in and whacked the living crap out of this kid. My friend says, "That's what you deserve then." So an hour goes by, we go home, I tell my mom what happened. The phone rings at home. So my mom picks up the phone, says, "Hello, entitled mom. This is M's mom. Yes, what is it?" "Your son said bad words to my son and beat him harshly." It's on speaker and I'm trying to hold back my laugh because this kid is 14 and can't handle his shattered ego. My mom says, "Okay, so my son already told me everything." "You have to give my son your little a-hole's PS4. Your son scored horribly in the class test. What did he do to get a PS4? My son studies regularly and needs it because my children don't have anything to play with." My mom cuts her off. "Leave it, Em. Crazy people like this exist." Well, you can often tell where entitled kids come from when you meet their parents. So I hope that's a lesson to you guys. Whenever you have kids, don't teach them to be so entitled. Don't give them what they want when they throw fits. And just generally make them work for what they get. Because you don't want your kids to turn out like this. Anyways, that does it for the entitled people and entitled parents stories for today. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.